can give a character 30 years of trauma. You can give them all of these different formative wounds. You can give them a complicated relationship with their father. You can explain how those things form the character and why they are the way that they are, and your reader can still find them incredibly boring. And I think here's where a lot of writers get stuck with paper-thin characters. The instinct to make them feel more 3D is to go right back to the past, add more wounds, add more trauma. They can use all that to figure out what happened to this character when they were 7, what did their mother do to them, and that work matters. I do an enormous amount of it for my own characters. But sometimes you can do all of those things, and then you can come back to your page, put all of this pressure on the character, and they can still feel so predictable. The brave character always chooses to be brave. The loyal character always chooses to be loyal. The ambitious character chooses ambition. You can admire them and you can root for them and you can understand exactly why they became this way. But the problem with that is your reader is always going to know exactly what choice they are going to make in any situation they're in. So how do we actually make a reader uncertain about what a character is going to choose? Well, let's build someone and find out. Imagine a man who decides at 38 years old, he's going to run his first marathon. He's not a runner. He's never been a runner, but something has shifted for him. Maybe it's a health scare. Maybe it's his most recent birthday that's making him feel old, or maybe it's him realizing he made a commitment to try hard things that he has not been trying to do. So he signs up, he buys the shoes, and he starts training. And what he wants underneath all of that is to prove something to himself. He wants to prove to himself that he can stay loyal to something he decides to do and see it through, even on those days when it feels impossible. We understand him. We know exactly what he wants, and that is the problem. Because if we know what he wants, we know what he will always do. He will train. He will push through. He will show up on those really hard days. When any choice presents itself, we know he's going to choose to keep going. That is a character goal. And if our goal is to have a complex character, we are not there yet. We are going to give him something else that he wants. We'll say that second want is that he wants his friends and family to see him as someone who can make hard things look effortless, someone who makes discipline look natural, someone who never looks like they are struggling. So he wants to finish that marathon, but he also wants everyone around him in his life to believe it was not that hard for him to do. Now watch what those two wants do to each other. Getting to that finish line requires him to be honest about his training. It requires admitting when a session destroyed him and he's in agony. It requires him asking a more experienced runner for advice. It requires him telling his wife on a random Tuesday night that he is so in pain that he cannot get off the couch, but appearing as though it comes naturally. That requires the exact opposite. So what does he do when he misses 3 training sessions in a week because his knee is so swollen? He doesn't tell anyone. He just adjusts his training schedule and pretends like everything is fine. So when a friend who ran a marathon 2 years ago offers to help him through his pacing, through his longer runs, our character has to say, no, thank you. I'm good. When his wife asks him how training is going, he says, it's great, while hiding all of that pain. And so now he is attempting something that requires genuine help, genuine honesty, and genuinely acknowledging that he does not know what he's doing, while at the same time cutting himself off entirely from those things exactly. And suddenly your reader doesn't know if he's going to finish. He doesn't lack the desire, but that second want makes that first one incredibly difficult to achieve, if not impossible. If he admits that he is struggling, he is serving that first want, but at the same time, he's betraying the second one. And if he keeps performing like everything is fine, he is serving the second one at the same time betraying the first one. That is how we achieve complexity. It is not bigger feelings. It is not a more devastating backstory. It is just 2 genuine wants that are both completely understandable, but moment after moment, they are challenging each other and they are colliding with each other, and we don't know which side he's going to choose. Let's do another example. We will go somewhere much more complicated because competing wants don't always announce themselves so cleanly like that. Sometimes the character doesn't know about that second one at all. I want to imagine a teacher, maybe middle school, maybe high school, but this teacher has a genuine want for her class, for her students to succeed. She sincerely believes in the kids that have been written off, the ones that already have a lengthy file on them. These are the ones that everyone else has already drawn their conclusions and forgotten about, and she is there defending them. She argues for them, and she stays late for them, and she writes all of the college recommendations that she thinks they deserve to have. What she wants is for her students to succeed beyond what others have expected of them. And she means it. This is not a performance. This is the reason that she gets out of bed in the morning. Except she also wants to be the sole reason that they succeed. And she would never say it like that. She probably doesn't even consciously recognize it as that. But she measures her own worth by how much her students need her. She feels most alive when a struggling student reaches out to her specifically, and she is the reason that they can be reached in that way. And so when a student starts thriving independently of her when they find a mentor outside of her classroom and when they start bringing ideas to her that she did not introduce to them. When they come back at the end of the year and all that growth came from somewhere else, she feels something that she cannot articulate. It isn't resentment. She probably would never say that word out loud, but when she sees that, when she is witness to that, when she is kept outside of that, something shifts in her. Some part of her becomes less available. She has less enthusiasm for them, and her focus goes back more intensely on those students who need her. And here's where it becomes devastating because she's not lying about wanting those students to be successful. She does want it, but both wants are so completely, concretely real to her. And as a result, we have organic, natural conflict that emerges without any sort of manipulation. If one of those wants was a mask hiding something else underneath, we would have a completely different story. A character with a secret agenda, that's just a plot device, but a character who has two competing wants that are real and understandable and they collide with each other, that is a person. That is a complex character. And what's even more interesting and powerful is that your reader can understand something about this character that they don't understand about themselves. And they watch her, scene after scene, work against the thing that she has devoted her professional life to. It has nothing to do with being a hypocrite. It has everything to do with just being a human. Because humans want things that undermine the other things that we want. Satisfying one part of ourselves comes at a cost of sacrificing another part we didn't even know was hungry. But we can take this one step further because I want to show you what happens when competing wants are not just genuine, but they are also sympathetic. We're going to look at a character who a reader can understand both sides of that want completely. These are when the reader can understand both sides equally, when there is not a clear right or wrong answer in either choice. Imagine a father who is aging. It's nothing dramatic. It's just a person becoming less and less of who they used to be. They start needing help with things that they never needed help with before. They're just moving more slowly, more carefully, and they are forgetting the names of people that they've known most of their life. And his son just wants to be present for whatever time he has left on this planet. The son has made promises to himself about this. He has watched other people lose parents and express their regret in not spending that time with them, so he's made a decision that is not the course that he is going to take. He will show up and he will be there, and he does. He shows up physically. He is there. But he also wants to preserve the version of the father that he knew early in his life. This is the man who built things with his hands, who had opinions about everything and delivered those opinions with volume and without apology. This man never asked for help when he needed it. And for most of this son's life, he was the most capable person in whatever room he was in. And the man sitting in front of him now, the one who needs help taking his pills and who cannot finish a thought without losing it halfway through, who asked twice yesterday, "What year is it?" That man and the father that he holds inside, the one that he carries with him, are becoming harder and harder to reconcile with each other. So the son shows up and he sits with him and he answers the same questions that were asked yesterday and the day before and the day before that. And he helps the father with the things that he needs help with, but he is completely unreachable. He is somewhere else in those moments. And his father feels that. He doesn't know what it is specifically, but he can feel that in the quality of those visits. It is this sense that the son is there, but he is gone. And the son doesn't know how to fix that because he doesn't quite understand exactly what is going on. He thinks he's grieving. He thinks he is doing his best. He thinks he is working through it. He does not see that second want that needs his father to be who he used to be. And it is making being present impossible for him because being present requires that son to recognize the father who is sitting right in front of him is not the same. That would mean letting go of that version of his father that he carries with him. And neither want is wrong. That is what makes this so incredibly difficult and full of friction. He wants to be there for his father, but he also wants the old version of his father back. And those two things fight each other every single visit. That is complexity because both wants are incredibly human and are incredibly expensive when one is chosen over the other. So I'm going to give you an exercise that you can run on the characters that you are working on now or characters that you plan to be working on in the future. All you have to do is ask yourself two questions. What does this character want when everything in life is going well? In the example of the son and his father, when everything is going well, he wants to be present and he wants to be a caretaker for his father. And the second question that you ask is, what does this character want when everything is falling apart around them? In the son and father example, when the son is feeling pressure, he just wants the old version of his father back. And I don't want you to rush the answers to those two questions because if the answer to both of those is the exact same thing, you are not going to achieve complexity in your characters. If a character wants control when they're safe and even more control when they are feeling pressure or when life is very hard, on the page your character will be flat. They will be one note and the reader will interpret them in that way. But if those answers are different, if they conflict with each other, if you have a character who simply wants freedom, and when life is good, that is what they want. But when life is hard, they want someone to come in and rescue them. That is complexity. If a character wants honesty when life is going well, but wants to be lied to when life is getting very difficult, That is complexity. So essentially, when those two answers are different, you have something very tangible and very compelling. When you have those two wants, don't just put them down on paper and move on. Design moments where those two wants collide with each other and one has to be chosen over the other. Because if a character is in a scene and they can safely choose one or the other, there is no cost to either of those. You don't have conflict in that scene. And the compounding effect of that is that easy decisions don't reveal anything about a character. If a character chooses that old version of their father over the one that is sitting in front of them, you have a devastating scene, and it also reveals something about this character. That uncertainty about what this character is going to choose, that genuine not knowing what they are going to do, is what is going to help your reader keep turning pages. So if your character feels thin, you can absolutely go back further in their backstory, and you can give them more trauma, and you can give them more wounds. Again, that work matters, and I am absolutely not dismissing any of it. But before you spend another week excavating all of that, I just want you to try something a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient. So much more to the point. Give them something they want. Then give them something else they want that makes that first want harder to get. Find that moment where they cannot have both and then make them choose, because complexity does not live in how much experience a character has under their belt or in their history. It is the gap between what they want and what they also want. And if you want to go deeper on this, if you want more examples, if you want a more in-depth craft guide, I have tons and tons available over on my Substack. I will put something in the description for you. And please give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you watching.